Three thoughts, on the game. One is obviously we didn't play very well. They played terrific. And usually when you get, a score with that type of disparity, that's the case. So give them certainly a lot of credit. I thought they played really, really well. The second thought, I certainly don't mean this in a derogatory way. We had three good guys today with the crew, but it was just a weird half for our players, and I thought really for Buffalo's players at all. This is the first game I've ever coached. I believe in my career I had two players with 4 fouls and two players with 3 fouls at halftime, and I thought it really disrupted some of the rhythm. Obviously, Buffalo had 12 fouls as well, so the game was called that way, which, again, we had a great crew. I know all three guys do a great job. And then all of a sudden, the second half, it's 3 fouls on one team and 6 fouls. And I just think if you're a player, now again, that wasn't worth 35 to 40 points. Okay, so I don't want to come across that way. But I think if you're a player, I think it's hard to kind of figure that out during the course of the game. And I thought it disrupted the rhythm really for both teams and the game itself. And then thirdly, even with as poorly as we played, I felt like going into the game, if we could hold them under a point per possession, that we'd be right there. And we did that because there were a lot of possessions during the game, but our offense was just, unfortunately anemic, and low assist numbers, low field goal numbers, low percentage shooting numbers. Give Buffalo a lot of credit for that. I thought they were really disruptive defensively and really got into passing lanes and put great pressure on the basketball. And then the second half, we finally start the second half with a little bit of rhythm on offense, and then we weren't able to get stops like we needed to really cut into that lead. I thought the first 4 minutes of the second half were going to be critical to figure out whether this thing was going to be on or not down the stretch. And our offense was better all of a sudden with ball movement and shot making. And then in the first half, we keep them off the backboard at 16 out of 20 on the defensive backboard, which is terrific against them. And then they get 4 offensive rebounds in the first 4 minutes of the second half. So we flipped it there for the first 4 or 5 minutes, and I thought once we got through those 4 or 5 minutes and weren't able to make a dent in it like we needed to, we knew it was going to be even more of a challenge down the stretch to climb back into the game. But again, give Buffalo credit. They do a great job. They've got really good players. They're well balanced at both ends of the floor, and that's a really good basketball team that we played today.
Questions for our student athletes?
For both players, obviously, can you guys, at the end of the season, define why it's such a great disparity in production and execution, whatever, home and on the road? It's really amazing to see how well you play at home and then to see sometimes how you struggle on the road. Is there anything that you guys, or is it something you can't put a figure on?
Lauren?
We just got to be better.
Cal?
I agree with that. We just got to be better on the road.
This question's for either player. What in particular did UB do to disrupt the offensive flow in the first half?
Channel?
We weren't moving, number one. Our offense was stagnant, and we just couldn't get a rhythm as far as making shots. Our ball movement wasn't good. We didn't get that many open shots. So that was our struggle.
Lauren, anything to add?
No, sir.
Obviously, you guys offensively all season had it was rocky. Do you feel like you got, is this, what do you have to do, going forward to fix that? Do you have any idea at this point?
We just got to get better, so we're going to go in and get better. That's all. That's what we got to do. Our leadership's got to be better, and that's on me, so we got to go in and get better.
Channel, anything to add?
No, we got to get better. It's the off season now, so it's time to put together what we didn't have this year and bring it next year.
All right, Channel and Lauren, thank you for your time. We'll let you get back to the locker room. We're going to continue with Coach Gross.
All right, fellas. Questions?
Yeah, I'll hit you with the same thing, coaches. is there anything you can kind of point to home road? I mean, you guys really play so well at home.
Yeah, I think, and I've said this before, Elton, there's a difference between playing well and getting over the hump and finishing out the game. So if that's what you're alluding to, we do need to get better at that. But we've got the ball out, baseline out of bounds at Nevada. They're a pretty good team. 3-point game, we get a stop. We're going to the other end for a chance to win it. We lost to Clemson, who's not bad, 72-69. We had this same team that you just watched twice in one-possession games on the road the last 2 times we played at Buffalo. So I think we have to be very careful of saying we didn't play well. There's a difference. You know, we've got to have the toughness. I think we got to be a little bit tougher mentally, Elton, to get over the hump and maybe have a chance. Obviously, what you're talking about is outcomes, you know. We did play some good basketball on the road. We just didn't finish it like we needed to finish in some of those situations, and that's the next step, certainly for our team. But, obviously I look at where we were at in year one in that regard to where we're at now, and we've clearly improved and gotten better from that standpoint. We've got to find a way to get over that hump and be better, executing both offensively and defensively, to finish out some games. I'm hoping with the experience of this team that we've went through this year, as well as some things that, we'll have to look at, from a coaching perspective, how we can help them more. But I'm confident, we took several steps this year in a lot of areas. And I think playing well on the road was a lot. We made a lot of steps there. But we got to try to finish them out. And I think that's what you're talking about. You're talking about outcomes.
I'll ask you the same thing I did the players. What do you think you can do? Do you think you have the shooters and they just, or what do you think you can do to?
Yeah, no,
straighten this out?
that's a great question. I thought that Channel was pretty close there. The one thing I'll say is certainly give Buffalo's defense credit. I mean, they're number 1 overall in league games. We were 23rd in the country coming into the day defensively, and I think they were inside the top 30. So they're pretty good on defense. And they were disruptive today. I thought they got in passing lanes. I thought they created a lot of that where we were stagnant, as he was talking about. And then obviously shot making. We're going to look at all of it in terms of how, like we always do, in terms of how we can get better. Everybody has a part in it. I appreciate Christian saying it's on me. It's probably what your quarterback and point guard should say, but it's really not. It's on everybody. We all got to figure out a way to help that end of the floor without sacrificing what we built defensively. Some of those games that we played on the road that Elton's alluding to last year, all of them looked like that. Okay, so we've come a long way. We got to figure out how to get over that hump. And the last thing that we want to do is sacrifice where we're at defensively right now. That obviously has been a real calling card for us. Today we put so much pressure on our defense. Like I said, we actually got our number that we needed, but we needed to be exceptional in that end of the floor just because our discussion here about our offense just was anemic. Part of it was some things that we could control. I'm sure we'll see that when we watch the film. And part of it was Buffalo's prowess on defense.
Just a quick follow-up. Does sometimes the concentration on defense sort of, take away from?
I've been asked that question a lot, and I think it's a really logical question. I do. I think it's a great question. I think as we continue to have more and more depth, I thought that was a factor today too. Obviously both teams were accumulating fouls pretty heavily in the first half. I thought their depth was better able to absorb that than ours was, but we're a little bit deeper than we were last year, and I think moving forward we'll be even more. We'll have even more depth. So part of that. To answer your question, it does take a great deal of effort, concentration, and focus to play defense like we have the majority of the year that consistently. But I'm one of those guys that believes you can do both. I've seen both done before. And, we've got to have a roster of guys that believe that. And we've got to get better offensively, as those guys said. We've got to improve. And it's shot making. It's not taking care of the ball. That's what's the oddest thing, talking to a colleague the other day. I mean, you look at our turnover numbers. I mean, we don't turn the ball over. We make free throws from a free throw percentage standpoint. We just got to execute a little bit better, got to make shots a little bit better. Got to continue to make sure what we're doing fits our players on that end of the floor. But I like certainly the improvements that we've made and the defensive disposition that our program has developed, I think will serve us well and, allow us to move forward.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.